Today on my new series of opening the hood and looking underneath at the tool industry, we're going to look at the Matco flyer that covers July 2nd through July 24th of 2022. It is their flyer number 14. When I did the Snap-on flyer video, I got a lot of flack from some people who were running to the defense of Snap-on. You don't need to run to the defense of anybody. I'm not bashing anyone. I'm not telling you not to buy stuff from Matco. I am simply showing you some things about the tool industry that you may not already know. Because while there aren't any real secrets about this stuff, it's not readily or freely available unless you do some digging. And it's my job to do that because I sell tools too. So I want to make sure that I understand what other companies are doing so that I can help you understand what's going on so that you can make the best buying decision for yourself. Because no matter who you buy tools from, they're all expensive. Even inexpensive tools are still kind of expensive. So I want you to make sure you're getting the value where you can and understand what it is you're buying. Because in the instance of the stuff I'm going to show you, the Matco flyer, they're selling some stuff that's made by another company that's branded for them. That's called third-party branding. And you can save a lot of money if you buy it from the from someone that's selling it under the manufacturer's name, for example, instead of their own brand like Matco does. And then there's a practice that they're engaging in that I think is kind of predatory, and I'm going to call them out on that because that I don't think is right. And certainly weigh in the comments if you have other opinions or if you disagree with what I'm saying, as I'm sure some people will. But just know that I don't have any harm intended to anybody. Matco is certainly not going to go out of business because of this video. So let's dig in first and see on page 4 this light that Matco's advertising on the left-hand side. They advertise a top-selling floodlight. This is their rechargeable infinity focusing floodlight. They have some specs on it, 1200 lumens, and then below that, on the bottom of the page, they have some specs and some marketing material there, including the dimensions. And the price is $108.95. Not a bad light, but if we look at this a little bit, then we can get some truth about it relative to what Matco is advertising. Now, this light is made by EZRed for Matco, and EZRed manufactures lights for lots of other companies. They manufacture the Snap-on neck lights, and they manufacture the same neck lights for Matco and Coyle and other companies, for Caterpillar too. And they make a fine product. But there's also limitations to the quality of some of their products that I think is important to know. So let's first compare what Matco's advertising to what EZRed advertises, and we'll see that this is in fact the same light. For all intents and purposes, it's identical, but you will see some subtle differences because when Matco orders a bunch of lights from EZRed, they enter a contract with them for that, and they can specify certain options that EZRed might offer, or EZRed will customize the light in certain aspects for Matco if they buy enough of them. So you'll see that the colors are different, obviously, and the bezel is different, and some other subtle changes, but by and large, it's the same light. So first, let's take a look at the Matco image in the flyer of the front three-quarter view of the light. And we'll compare that with the same image of the EZRed light. And then we'll look at the front view of the Matco light and compare that side by side with the same image from the EZRed light. And finally, the rear view of the Matco light. And then the same rear view of the EZRed light. And you can see they are the same light. Is it worth the extra money? Well, you can buy the EZRed light for about $50 other places, and for $58.95 more, is it worth it to buy in the Matco truck? Perhaps it is. Maybe it's worth it to you to deal directly with your dealer. If he's got one in stock, it's faster, generally speaking, if you're going to see him that week, than it is to buy it somewhere else. And if he's willing to help you and stand behind it, if you need warranty help, then it may very well be worth it. But understand this about this light. It is not what I would consider pro grade, in that the plastic it's made out of is very, very brittle. And the adhesive they use for the magnet in the swivel base is not very strong. I have seen this same light fall off of cars where it's been mounted to using the magnet when the adhesive pulls away from the magnet. And even a short drop onto a concrete shop floor means that that brittle plastic is going to break. And when it does, it's very difficult, if it's at all possible, to get it covered under warranty, because they generally don't cover a drop and break like that. They'll cover manufacturer defect. So you're going to have to ask your dealer if it's something that he's willing to go to bat for you for, or if it's something that unfortunately you're simply stuck with. Are there more rugged lights? Yes, absolutely. There are way more rugged lights than this one. So for that reason alone, I don't consider it to be shop grade because of that. It's not going to take the normal wear and tear that it would find in a shop environment. Now, maybe if you were buying it for $50 with the EZRed name on it, it would be worth it to you, but certainly for an extra $58.95 that would cost to get it on the truck, I'm not so sure that it's worth it. Only you can make that decision, because ultimately you know what your budget is, you know what you can afford, and you know what you can pay every week on the truck. Now, let's look at a practice that Matco's engaged in that I am not fond of, and I'm going to call them out on this because it's kind of predatory, and I think this is absolutely worth being aware of. Turn to page 10 in the flyer, and you'll see on the left-hand side, they're advertising their 2S toolbox. And they title it Kickstart Your Career with the Definitive Entry-Level Toolbox. Stop right there, Matco. There is nothing, and I repeat, nothing on any tool truck that I would consider entry-level for the price alone. If you're just starting out your career, you should not be buying toolboxes on tool trucks. You shouldn't be buying anything on a tool truck. Get a great starter master set from Home Depot, or find it online somewhere that has hand tools, wrenches, sockets, ratchets, and things like that. If you need a toolbox, get something fairly small and manageable that you can easily wheel around the shop, that can double as a cart, or get a cart from Harbor Freight, which has excellent offerings, or from Home Depot. Let's take a look at this 2S box and compare it to offerings that we can find elsewhere. Spec for spec, this matches up very nicely with the Harbor Freight box that you can buy for $919.99, which is kind of pricey for this box, but the specs are very similar to the 2S. But I think an even better value is the Home Depot Husky box. This box is also matched very nicely spec for spec with the 2S, and it only costs $598. Now, you compare the cost of these boxes with the 2S that they're advertising in the flyer, and they list it on their website for $4,326. Now, maybe you can get a really good deal on the truck if the dealer is willing to take a discount off it, or maybe he bought one that he can offer at a discount if they have a special in the flyer. I don't know what their on-truck pricing would be for this. We're going to go with the list pricing. But even if he was to offer you 50% off the list price at $2,000, that is still far too much money for this box. And you can find yourself a far better deal and a more affordable box of equal quality if you get it somewhere else. And don't let anybody make you think otherwise. There are people in this field who have been turning wrenches professionally for decades, who have done so successfully with US General or Husky boxes from Harbor Freight and Home Depot. And don't let anyone tell you that you're not a professional if you're not using one of those boxes, because that is absolutely not the truth. A toolbox, while it is very important for organization and security, doesn't actually earn you money. So put your money into the tools that will earn you money, and at least initially, find the bargains where you can on either used boxes, or if you want to buy something new, look at Harbor Freight and Home Depot. So I don't like the fact that Matco is dangling this carrot in front of new technicians, trying to make them believe that this is appropriate if you're just starting your career, because it is not. Learn the basics of your job first. Get good with where you are in your decision making as far as the career path goes. And once you've committed yourself to a career, after a year or 2 or 3, if you want to upgrade your box to something else, go right ahead. By that time, you will have a much better understanding of how not only your own industry works, but how the tool and tool truck industry works. And find value on the tool trucks where you can. If you're just starting out, stay off the tool trucks, all tool trucks, including mine, because there probably isn't enough value there for you to justify the higher prices. So get to know your tool guys, absolutely, and understand the way they work. And also talk to other guys in the shop about how they buy tools, where they buy tools, and what advice they might have for you. And just because they give you advice doesn't mean you have to take it, but rather process it and maybe, tuck it away as you compare it to other advice that you're getting and see what makes sense for you. Now, finally, in the catalog on page 15, there's two very interesting items here. One of them is they have a stainless steel bottle with a Bluetooth speaker in the cap that they're selling for $56.95. It's a heck of a novelty item, and I have no idea if it's good quality or not, but also be careful when they dangle these things in front of you because the novelty items can get you. They're not cheap, and while there might be a cool factor to it, I don't know if it's good quality. Get a demo on it first, but I would suggest that if you got an extra $57 kicking around, put that towards some tools that are going to earn you some money. And finally, it's the summertime, and let's say you're all alone in this world and you don't have a dog or you don't have a girl in your life to share your happiness and your sorrows with, and maybe you're laying outside in your flower bed on a nice hot August day and you watch the butterflies float by. Well, Matco has a pal for you. For $43.95, you can buy their lawn gnome on a motorcycle. He's a summertime pal. You can hang out with him, maybe crack a beer open, kick back and enjoy that cool, refreshing beverage in the heat of the summer. Just be careful where you put your money and get as much information as you can before you spend it, because you work hard to earn it and you deserve to get as much value as you possibly can from it. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you something to consider. Please weigh in with your comments. And I want to hear your opinions. Whether or not they agree with mine is okay. Just put them down there and we can all learn from each other. And keep watching the channel because we have some live stream videos that will be really fun to watch, because we're going to cover all kinds of topics, including what it's like to work in a shop and how the shop culture affects your decisions. We also did a live stream on new tools for new technicians and the kinds of things that you should look for and look out for. And in the future, we're going to have new topics that include things like purchasing tools made in the USA and what it means to operate a shop business and what the costs are like for the shop owner and how that translates into you as a technician working for someone who owns a shop. So do me a favor, click down here now to subscribe so that you don't miss any of it. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, use a tool. Don't be one.